So let's start with the contents, right? Let's see what we have. So as I told you, the first thing we will do is we will start with the basic subject, the first subject, that is CDP, the child development and pedagogy, right? So let's go and see what we have in the slides, right? So let's see. All right, so this is the first slide you have, that is child development and pedagogy, that is 30 max. So as you know, see, there will be 30 questions for 30 marks when you are writing the exam, which means one question will have 1 mark each. And till now 3 MTET exams has taken place. So everywhere what we got is that OMR sheet paper. We have to do that bubbles, no, filling the bubbles. So those that you have to do. You don't have to write anything, you don't have to tick anything, but you have to bubble it. And that also, how to use an OMR sheet, I have already explained in the YouTube channel, so you can go and find it there. All right. And yes, one more very important thing I forgot to tell you is that before watching this video, what you should do is that I have put certain links. Like there is one folder in the drive, right, where I have put like the syllabus, the updated syllabus or new syllabus or latest syllabus, something like that I have put. So your duty is to go and watch that video in YouTube once again. So I will not be making, or I will not be explaining the syllabus again and again. So I've already explained it. So please follow that link from the drive. And if you do not know where to find the link, you can always let me know, so I can send you the link and you can follow it. All right. So that you should watch, you should know what are the contents, what are expected of you. So you should know what to read, what not to read. Likewise, you should proceed, right? So let's see the next slide what we have here. All right. So yes, see, in unit 1, you have got 5 sub units. That is concept of development. Development is a continuous and a lifelong process. Stages of developments with respect from infancy to childhood stage. Development of children in a socio-cultural context. And last but not the least, factors affecting development. All right, so these are the things which you will be studying, right? These are the things which you will study. So let's see, let's start. All right, so first of all, we will study, or we will see, what do we mean by concept of development. Concept means what? Concept means the idea, what idea you have, regarding the development of a child, development of a baby, right? Why development of the baby, or why the development of the children? It is because in schools we deal with children, right? We are dealing with the children. So it is our duty to understand how the children grow, how the children develop. When we know how they develop, or what are their attitudes, what are their family backgrounds, financial backgrounds, their anecdotal records. When we have their anecdotal records, then when we have their what was it what do we call it, you also know that where we collect the information of students, right? And then like a type of biodata which we make. So I cannot recollect that, what was that particular name, I forgot. So you can comment and let me know, right? So see, doctors, when the doctors are doing operation, they know which part is affected, how to tackle it, right? So likewise, since we are dealing with the children, we have to know which part of the students need improvements, right? Which part needs improvement, which child needs improvement, what type of help they need, what type of remedial teachings they need. So we have to know those things, and in order to know that, we need to study about the development of a child. Likewise, as the doctors, they study the human anatomy, right? They study human physiology, they study about the human body. So we also study about the child, right? So let's see what we have. So child development refers to the complex process of growth, and change that occurs in children from birth to adolescence. See, now what we have here is that they are saying that uh, growth and development, or development, is a complex process. It's not an easy process. It's not a smooth process, all right? It's a complex process where what happens, the children are developing, or the changes are taking place in children right from the moment they are born till today. That is, till the time they leave schools. So as we know, in schools we deal with teenagers or we deal with adolescents, right? So children from 3 years to 18 years, we deal with them in schools, right? So that's why we have to understand the children of certain age groups. So it involves a fascinating journey where children move from a state of total dependence to increasing level of independence and competence. Development encompasses multiple areas. Now you see what they are saying is that, you know, mm, when a person, or when an individual is a child, he or she is completely dependent on the parents, right? They are completely dependent on the parents, teachers, elders, siblings. So they are completely dependent. But then as they are growing, all right, as they are growing from early childhood to later childhood, then to adolescence, so they they give up their dependence, so they become more and more independent, which means they do not need to depend on, you know of course they have to, but it does not mean that they will depend on others for each and every little things. So they will not depend, right? So development has got development has got various areas, like physical development, cognitive development, emotional development, social development. So there are different domains of development, which we shall see in the next slide. All right, so first of all, it comes physical development. So what is physical development? So changes in body size, proportions, appearance, physical health, motor skills, gross and fine, and sensory abilities. Now you see, so when we talk about physical development means something you can see, something you can touch, right? So development means changes which takes place in the child's body. So the child will grow in height, the child will gain weight, right? Then the proportion, the body size will increase. Then how the child is going to appear, his or her face is going to change. Then physical health of the child is changing. Then their motor skills are developed during this phase. How? See, there are two types of motor skills. How many types? Two types. One is fine motor skill, another one is gross motor skill. So now what is fine motor skill? See, by the word itself you can make out fine means small, right? So fine motor skills means the skills which involve small muscles of your body. For example, when you're writing something using your fingers, right? Using your fingers and hand, that is a fine motor skill. And when you're playing a guitar, that is also a fine motor skill. But then if we talk about gross motor skill, it means that gross motor skills means including the large muscles of the body. For example, when you are playing football, you're cycling, so those are what? Those are the gross motor skills, all right? And as you know, there are 5 senses we have, right? The sense of smell, the sense of taste, the sense of touch, the sense of sight, and the sense of listening, right? So we have got 5 senses. So all those senses are also developing, and these also comes under physical development. All right, next we have cognitive development. See, by the word itself, you should be smart enough to understand that cognitive means mental development, mental abilities of the child. So of course, when a child is developing, he or she is undergoing through a lot of cognitive development, right? So changes in intellectual abilities of the child takes place, including attention. So how the child is able to attend, how attentive is the child in the class. Then he or she develops memory skills. They are able to recollect the things which they have learned yesterday and remember it today, right? And even for tomorrow, they learn the skills of problem solving, reasoning skills, and they develop the language, right? Language, which means, see, There is one thing I want to tell you is that none of us are coming from British family, right? So some of us are coming from, you know, Bengali family, some of us are coming from Garo family, some of us are coming from Khasi families, Nepali family, Mizo family. So we don't speak English at home, right? We speak in our own local dialects. So when a child is coming from home to school, in school we are basically speaking in English, right? So there are two different type of languages. One is home language, another one is school language. So there has to be an integration of the two, right? There has to be an integration of the two, which means both this language should be connected in such a way that the child gets the maximum out of it. So you know in a classroom we have children coming from different family backgrounds, so that's why we are bound to speak only one language, right? That is English language. So there should be an integration between the local language and the English language. So teachers, as teachers, we should be able to uh, break that gap between the two languages, so that they do not have any difficulty in understanding the English, or in understanding what we are trying to talk, or what we are trying to share, or what we are trying to teach them, right? So whatever they are learning inside the classroom, the child should be able to take it outside the classroom. This is what we know according to various educational theories, right? So let's see the next slide now. All right, now comes the social and emotional development. See, we know that no man is an island. What's that? No man is an island, right? So all of us, uh, we are social beings. We are social animals. Human beings are known as social animals. Why social animals? Because uh, we live with the society. We live with the families. We live with the neighbors, neighbor neighbors, then relatives. So we live in a community, in a society. We live in school. So even school is a small society, right? In which we, or the children, they spend maximum of their time. So every child or every individual should learn the art of socialization or socializing. So we should not stay idle, we should not stay alone, we should not be introverts. So as much as possible we should try to inculcate in the children the habits of openness, where they are able to open up, they are able to open up, they are able to show up, they are able to take part in the social gatherings, social activities, group discussions, right? So as teachers we should be able to bring out the fear, we should bring out the fear from the children and throw it out. And we should motivate them in such a way that they do not have stage fear, or they do not have fear of public speaking and all. So we are the main you know we are the main people who can actually do it. So we have to take care of that. Now again, emotional development. So what is emotions? Emotions are like the feelings, right? The feelings. And you or the children, we as a children, we should know that when to be angry, when to be sad, when to be happy, right? So all these things we should balance, and we should go hand in hand, right? It cannot go in isolation, or one cannot work without the other, which means uh, see, you have to develop the correct attitude, the positive attitude. So you should know when to smile, how much to smile, how to control your angers. This is a very big issue, right? So we should not take impulsive decisions, we should not take any decisions when we are mentally disturbed, or when we are angry, when we lose our temper, when we lose our cool, right? So that time so all these we have learned about the four factors. There is physical development, cognitive development, social development, emotional development. So out of these four, uh, you know uh, we as teachers, we have to help the children in the development of all these four factors in a positive way, right? Let's go to the next one now. All right. All right, there's just a little bit of correction. These are not the factors, these are the domains, right? Domains, areas. Now comes the factor. So what are the different factors which affects the development of a child? That let's see. So first factor is genetics. So you all know about DNA testing and all, right? DNA. So we are human beings. We know that human beings, humans and plants, we are made out of what we are made up of cells, right? Inside the cells we have nucleus. Inside the nucleus we have chromosomes. Then chromosomes are made out of DNA. Then inside the DNA we find genes, right? So genes are what? Uh, Genes are the factors which carry the inherited characters from our parents, which means our parents, they pass down their genetic information from them to us. And again, when we get married and we have children, we are also doing the same thing. So when we have a child, a son or a daughter, we are also passing down our genetic information from us to them, right? So you know even the genes can play a very important role in the development of the child. Then environment. So environment plays a very important role because the child lives in a environment. He or she lives in an environment, right? In a family, then the neighborhood, then the school environment, then the culture they follow, the experiences they do. So all these, all together, they come and they contribute for the development of the child. So if their child is coming from a good environment, a positive environment, he will develop in a positive way. Or if he or she is coming from an environment which is affected badly or not so healthy environment, so he or she will be like that only, right? So we as teachers, we cannot let go any children by thinking that, oh, he is coming from an toxic environment, so we can avoid it. No, we have to take even more special care for those kind of children, right? Then interaction of nature and nurture. So see, the complex interplay between genes and environment influences all aspects of development. So what it says, the complex interplay between genes and environment influences all aspects of development. So you can see here the interplay between what? The two factors they are saying, that is genes and environment. Genes and environment are actually the main factor which influences all domains of development, like the physical development, cognitive development, emotional development and social development. All right, let's go to the next slide. All right, so here we have got certain definitions, right? Certain definitions we have got here. So first of all, we have maturation. So the biological unfolding of developmental changes according to genetically determined. So what is maturation? Maturation means, it does not mean that I am older than my brother, so I have to be more mature. No, sometimes it can be that your younger ones are more mature than you, right? So maturity varies from person to person. Someone younger than you can be more mature than you, right? It can so happen. So maturity, it's a biological unfolding of developmental changes, all right? And it is determined, this maturity is determined. How? It is determined genetically, all right? So learning, I don't have to explain that. So another explanation I'll give here is of Jean Piaget. Now, who is Jean Piaget? So Jean Piaget is a psychologist. So he is very important when you are studying child development and pedagogy, CDP. Jean Piaget is a name which you cannot forget. You cannot afford to forget. So he is very important for us, all right? So what does Jean Piaget say about child development? So he says that child development is a process of continuous adaptation to the environment. So what he says is that development of a child means the adaptation. So how the child is adapting in the environment, so accordingly he or she will develop. So as you know that Charles Darwin, right? Who is Charles Darwin? He is the scientist who gave the theory of survival of the fittest, right? Survival of the fittest was given by Charles Darwin. So in order to survive in an environment, what you or I have to do is that we have to adapt accordingly. If we are not able to adapt to certain changes in the environment, to certain variations in the environment, then we will not survive, right? So if we really want to survive in an environment, in a changing environment, in a dynamic environment, so we have to keep on changing, adapting. So this is what Jean Piaget has to say. All right, how the definition emphasizes the active role children play in constructing their understanding of the world through interaction with environment. So, one point to remember here is that whenever you hear the word Jean Piaget, name Jean Piaget, you must remember the word environment, all right? Now, Leo Vygotsky. See, Leo Vygotsky again is another psychologist, so he is also very, very important. And many question comes where it says Leo Vygotsky is a social constructivist. So this, what I'm saying just now, you can note it down in your notebook. So write it down that Jean Piaget is known as a social constructivist because he gives very much importance to the society from which the child comes. So child development is a social and a cultural process where children learn through interaction with more knowledgeable individuals. So see, what does Leo Vygotsky say? So Leo Vygotsky says that the development of the child, it depends on the culture the child follows, and it depends on the society the child lives in. It depends on how the child is interacting with the more knowledgeable other. MKO, more knowledgeable others. This is the term used by Leo Vygotsky, which you should remember. So according to Jean Piaget, the development of the child depends on the adaptation of the child with the environment, and according to Leo Vygotsky, the development of the child depends on the culture and the society from which he or she comes. Now, Erikson. So Erikson is also another psychologist. So what does he say? Let's see. Child development involves navigating a series of psychosocial crises that shape a healthy personality. This definition emphasizes the importance of resolving emotional conflict at different stages of life to form a strong sense of self. Now, he talks about psychosocial crisis. So Erikson, he focuses on the emotional conflicts which goes in our mind. So how well are we able to tackle the conflict which goes into our mind? See, as teachers, as individuals, we are also suffering from a lot of pain, a lot of tensions, a lot of trouble, anxiety, depression, right? So Erikson says that child development involves navigating. We should know how to navigate. We should know how to navigate a series of psychosocial changes. Why? Because psychosocial changes are important for what? For healthy personality of the individual, right? So you have to remember the word psychosocial when you are asked something related to Erikson, all right? Let's see another one, that is Arnold Gesell. So I don't know whether I pronounced the name right or not, so don't mind. So child development follows a predictable sequence of stages, which with each stage characterized by specific patterns of behavior. Gesell's perspective highlighted the idea of universal stages of development, although it acknowledges individual variations within these stages. So according to Arnold, what he says is that child development follows a predictable sequence of stages. So we can predict, according to him or her, the child development is a predictable pattern or a sequence which we can follow, and each stage is characterized by specific change in the patterns or the behavior of the child, right? So he says that the idea of universal stages of development, although it acknowledges individual variations, although we all know that there are individual differences or individual variations. The child might be of the same age, but they will have individual differences, right? Of course, they will have different types of individual differences depending on which background they are coming from, what financial status they have, how healthy are they, then the neighborhood they live, the family they are coming from, whether they are coming from broken families, whether they are coming from a family where the parents are illiterate, and also those things are are the things or the factors which directly or indirectly affects the four domains of development, that is physical, cognitive, social, emotional, right? Let's see the next slide. That is another definition, that is by Urey. Child development is influenced by ecological systems, including the microsystem, immediate environment, mesosystems, interaction between microsystems, ecosystem or exosystem, indirect influences on the child's environment, and macrosystems, cultural and societal factors. This definition emphasizes the complex interplay of various environmental factors that influence children's development. So what does it say? So Urey says that child development is influenced by ecological systems. Now, in an ecology or in an ecosystem, what we have different type of systems according to Urey. So we have microsystem. What is microsystem? Microsystem is the immediate environment. It is the family in which we live, right? Then then the mesosystem. So mesosystem, interaction between microsystems. So family interaction, relatives interacting with our family. So those are micro ecosystems, right? Then exosystem, indirect influences on the child's environment. Exo means outside, right? So indirectly how the child is influenced or how the environment of the child is influenced, that is called exosystem. Then macro system, by the word itself you should know macro means big, micro means very small, exo means out, right? So macro systems, and under macro systems comes the society and the culture. So according to Urey also, society and culture plays a very important role. Now it's your I want you to recollect, just now we have discussed a psychologist whose thought about development is similar with Urey. So who is that scientist who said that society and culture plays a very important role? See, Urey is also saying that society and culture plays a very important role, and there in the previous slide also there is one psychologist who said that. So who is that? Yes, you are right. That is Leo Vygotsky, right? Good. So now let's see examples of child development. So physical development. So how do we know that the child is developing physically? Infancy. So what is infancy? Infancy means when the child is very small. So rolling over, sitting up, crawling, walking. See, we all know that when the child is born, the child is not able to sit. The child will only lie down. Wherever you put the child, he or she will stay there only, stagnant, right? But as the child grows, he or she will be able to move a little bit, right? They will be able to shake or move a little bit. Then they will be able to roll up. Then slowly they will crawl. After crawling, what they will do? They will start walking, right? They will start walking. So these are the stages of development in infancy. Now in early childhood, you see the children start running, they start jumping, they can throw ball, play, then they catch, then they are drawing, making art, sketches, right? So early childhood. Then in middle childhood, increased strength, coordination and stamina. So as the child approaches or reaches middle age, what happens? Middle childhood, I mean. So they have more energy, more strength to play the physical games like football, cricket, right? Then they develop the coordination between hand and eye. Coordination is there. Suppose they are playing cricket, they know how to hold it. Coordination is there, right? The eye is looking at the ball and the hand is catching. So this kind of coordination is there. And then stamina. So they are able to play for a longer duration of time, right? Then what happens in adolescence? So the onset of puberty, including physical changes in body shape and the development of secondary sexual characteristics. So adolescence chapter or topic will come later on, so I will explain that very nicely in a very good way, in a very detailed way. So but here you just need to know that adolescence means the onset of puberty. The child, he or she enters the puberty where he or she they starts developing their physical changes in the body, right? You can see the physical changes in the body of the child who is in their adolescence or who is a teenager, who have started from the age of 11, in girls from the age of 11 and in boys from the age of 13 approximately. You can see the start of puberty, right? Then you will see different type of changes in the body size, body shape, of both the boys and girls. And you will also see the secondary sexual characteristic development in the boys as well as the girls. For example, in boys you will see they start developing the beards, right? Small beards will come up. So those things you can, the facial hairs you can see, right? Then let's see the next slide. All right, that was about physical development. Now let's see cognitive development. So in infancy, how can you say that the child is developing uh, cognitively or mentally? The child is developing, so exploring objects through senses, learning basic cause and effect. So see, infancy, learning through uh, senses. So the child will touch the mother and feel her. The child will touch the milk bottle and feel it. The child will touch hot object and feel it, right? So all this the child learns through senses. Now in early childhood, learning languages, developing symbolic thoughts and understanding numbers. So when the child is in early childhood, what happens, the child is able to speak little bit his or her own languages. Then English also, they will start learning languages, right? Then they will develop symbolic thought. They will be able to think, when I talk about rectangle, they'll be able to imagine in their mind the shape of a rectangle. When I'm talking about circle, they'll be able to recollect in their mind that the shape of a circle is round, right? Like that. Then also they will start learning mathematics, understanding. They will know 1 plus 1 is equal to 2, 2 minus 1 is equal to 1, then 100 minus 0 is 100. So those things, those concepts, they will develop. Then in the middle childhood, what happens, logical thinking develops, problem solving skills and planning ahead. So when the child enters middle childhood, what happens, he or she is able to think logically. Logics are there, right? Uselessly they will not do anything. They will think, oh, if I do like this, I think if I throw this ball with a larger amount of force, I think it will cross that boundary where I want to throw it actually. So those type of logics he or she will develop, right? Then problem solving skills they will develop, and planning also they will have. All right, so tomorrow we have PT class, so tomorrow I will be playing this game and I will be dressing up this way. So those kind of planning, little plannings they develop. Then in adolescence, developing abstract thinking skills, complex reasoning and decision making. Excuse me. So developing abstract thinking skills, so they will develop the thinking skills in adolescent stage. Then complex reasoning also comes in, and decision making skills also they develop. All right, let's go to the next one, that is social and emotional development. So infancy, forming attachment to caregivers, expressing basic emotions. So social and emotional development we can talk about is that when a child, suppose if the child is not able to stay with the mother all the time, if somebody is caregiving him or her, the child will develop the emotions, the attachment with the caregiver, not with the mother but with the caregiver, right? They will want to be with the caregiver, they will want to be always around that caregiver, right? So they develop a kind of attachment. Then early childhood, developing a sense of self, showing empathy towards others and engaging in play. Now early childhood, what happens, the child, they develop a sense of self. They know like, oh, I look good in this dress up, I look good in this hairstyle, then I should talk like this, I should not talk like that to elders. Then they develop who they are, like they start understanding who they are, right? Now showing empathy towards others. Uh, suppose somebody's friend, like we are talking about children, right? So suppose there are two children, any name, let me take it, like what name should I take, which name? All right, my name. Great. So suppose there's a child called Ashok and there is a child called Rahul. So suppose Ashok did very well in his exams, but Rahul could not do so. So Ashok will show empathy to him. How do we show empathy? By supporting the other friend, right? By empathizing with him or her and engaging in play. So when we are in early childhood, we engage in different type of play activities, right? Now middle childhood, building friendships, understanding social norms, and developing a sense of morality. Middle childhood becomes important. Why? Because it is the time when we are making friends. And there is a saying which says that if you want to know somebody's character, you just find out who are their friends. So by a find see, suppose you want to know what is the character of A, how good or bad person is A. So if you go and talk with B, C, D, E friends, so you will know how what kind of person that A is, right? So in the friend circle itself what type of person that will be. So friendship development takes place. So here the children needs care, right? They should choose their friend very wisely, because if they are choosing the friends who are drug addicts, smoking, or practicing different type of bad habits, so they will be misguided. So here in this stage of middle childhood, we as teachers, we should be very careful, and we should be very vigilant, like how with whom the child is building friendship. We have to take care of that, right? Then morality, what is moral? Moral means etiquettes, right? The etiquettes the child have, the courtesy the child have, like we should be able to develop the habit of saying thank you in the child, the habit of saying sorry, the habit of saying please, may I, or can I, right? So this type of habits the child should develop. Politeness should come in as a personality character of the child, right? All right, so we have come to the conclusion. So whatever is written in the conclusion, I'm not going to read it, I'm just going to conclude it once more. Like, not conclude, I'm just going to summarize it once more. All right, so we have seen, what have we seen? We have seen unit 1, understanding development. So from understanding development we have got 5 subunits. From 5 subunits we have discussed only one subunit, that is concept of development. All right, so concept of development we have studied. Then we have learned about four domains of development. There is physical development, cognitive development, social development, emotional development we have learned about. After that we have learned about the factors. So we have learned about 3 factors, that is genetic factors, environmental factors, and interaction of nature and nurture, which affects the development of the child. Then we have learned certain definitions by Jean Piaget, by Leo Vygotsky. So Jean Piaget, you have to remember the word environment. Leo Vygotsky, you have to remember the word culture and society. Then Erikson, you have to remember the word psychosocial. Then Arnold, you have to remember the word, which word? I think he did not give any specific word. Child development follows a predictable sequence. He just said that, all right, that variation continue to take place in the as the child develops, right? Then Yuri also said similar to what Leo Vygotsky said, that is culture and society. Then we have learned about the examples of child development: physical, cognitive, emotional, social. So there are stages given here, from infancy to early childhood, then middle childhood, and adolescence. So 4 stages here also: infancy, early childhood, middle childhood, adolescence, right? So this is the conclusion here. So this was the summary of this. So we have successfully completed we have successfully completed this the unit 1's first subtopic, that is concept of development. So I hope that it was very clear, and as we go on and on, you will be learning more, and you will develop a sense of understanding. So if you are exactly following what I'm saying, then my dear friends, you will really grow and you will really do well. But for that you have to stay disciplined, you have to be punctual, and you have to give some amount of time, at least 1 hour a day will also help you. So you don't have to do anything. Make a note of what you are studying through my YouTube channel, so that will help you, because when we are writing and studying, we are doing 2 things at the same time. We are using our what motor skills I said that time, fine or gross motor, fine motor skills we are using, right? We are using a sense of sight also, and remembering also, and we are writing, right? So we remember better when we study by writing. So don't just sleep in your bed and watch my videos for enjoyment. Don't do that. You watch the video, it does not matter if you're sleeping and watching, also sleep and watch take the screenshots, and later on, as you get the time, please write down the notes, right? So I strictly want you to make your own notes and study very well, and believe me, you'll do wonders. I believe in you, so you should also, believe in yourselves. So thank you everyone for staying connected with Ashok Tutorials, Meghalaya's first MTET channel. Thank you.